beginning to love red clover, Catherine. Last year's red clover that we sowed proved its worth again this year with nearly 22 bales per acre grown in 3 cuts so far, and there's still another cut to take, and we'll probably take it around the end of September. We only put out slurry on it for the whole year. Our total silage requirement this year is nearly complete, and we still have 32 acres of third and fourth cut to take, so we're feeling confident we'll have enough this year.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc beef podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode I'm joined by Aidan Maguire, DairyBeef 500 farmer, to discuss his DairyBeef system and his upcoming National Beef Open Day. Aidan, you're very welcome. Can you give an overview of your system?
I'm farming here in Navan, County Meath, with my son Luke. We formed a registered farm partnership in January of this year, and so far it has been great. It's great having someone to share the plans and worries with and that sort of thing. So we buy in about 150 dairy bred calves each year, with about 1/3 of them in the autumn and 2/3 in the spring. We buy heifers and bulls. And we aim to have them sold or finished around 20 or 24 months of age as beef. We have a small contracting business as well, so we have the machines here to handle all our slurry and silage and fertiliser spreading needs, which helps us, maximise our grass growth and also our grass utilisation, I think. Like, we aim to maximise the grass growth as the main part of the diet. We focus a lot on getting the pH and the P and K levels right on the farm to grow as much grass as possible, and then to improve the quality of silage as well. So that's kind of what we're at.
This year's calves, how have they performed?
Well, I suppose this year's calves have finally turned the corner, I'll say, and they started to thrive after a long drawn-out period where they always looked like they needed something more. Like, we got dung samples analysed and egg burdens weren't a major problem, so we dosed them twice during the season so far with a white drench and increased our meal to 1.5 kgs per head today from 1 kg. We also started feeding them twice a day, and we think it might have made a difference to them as well. They're averaging, the spring calves now are currently averaging about 170 kgs each and starting to put a bit of flesh on their bones, so fingers crossed they'll keep thriving. The autumn calves, we had no issues with them at all from start till now, and they're averaging about 260 kilos each, and everything, so everything is going well in that front, and we'll probably dose everything shortly now with ivermectin injection to cover them until housing, so they're going well at the moment.
And you mentioned that you're rearing 1/3 of the calves that are sourced in the autumn. When will you start sourcing the calves this year?
Funny enough, just the other day, Catherine, the first 10 calves of autumn 24 have already been agreed on, so they should be here by the end of October. So anytime, September, October, November born calves suits us for the autumn rearing, and then we try and get them mostly out of the way before the spring calves arrive.
The stock that you have that are for finishing, how are they performing at the moment, or when will they be housed, or what's your plan with those?
Yeah, we're very pleased with those cattle this year. Last year's calves are this year's beef, so they have done very well. We have selected 45 of them already and literally only put them in the shed yesterday for finishing. They'll be in for between 60 and 100 days. There's some Herefords will be finished earlier and Anguses will be finished earlier, but the Friesians will probably take the 100 days. They've done very well. They were a very consistent bunch of cattle the whole year and gave us no trouble at all. So we kept good grass in front of them and they utilised as well. So we're delighted with the performance so far.
And how will they be managed now for the next 60 days?
Literally, they're in now. They're straight onto red clover silage. We started them on 2 kilos of nuts this morning, and they'll be moving up to 4 kilos and then up the full ration of 5 kilos a day fed in 2 feeds. So that's the way they'll run through, and they'll be selected then as they come fit. We'll walk through the shed or we'll weigh them and select them as they come fit.
Aidan, a lot of rain has fallen so far this year. Last year you grew 13 tonne of dry matter per hectare. How has this year been for you so far?
Yeah, well, we are very lucky, Catherine. We have a dry farm, and rain usually helps grass growth improve. But this year's been a very mixed bag on the growth front. We only hit growth rates, I think, twice this year of above 80 kgs per day. So for the whole year, we were looking for grass. Like we reduced our fertilizer applications to between 16 and 19 units per round because some weeks we just knew growth remained very low and we felt the fertilizer wasn't being taken up that well. So we've grown just under 9 tons so far, and now unless September is a phenomenal month, I don't see us getting to the 13 tons this year.
And how are you planning on managing grass on the farm in the coming weeks to build covers coming into the autumn?
Well, our only saving grace now is that those 45 cattle have come in. Where actually our average farm cover was dropping. I do grass walk every Sunday, and last Sunday the average farm cover had dropped by nearly 70 kgs, which was slightly worrying. And I suppose it did spark us to weigh the cattle and see what is suitable for finishing. So we did intend to keep them out till the first week in September. That was the plan, but the fact that grass growth seemed to have diminished. We only had a growth of 42 last Sunday, so that was very disappointing. So we took in 45 cattle, and instantly we have a far better situation now on the farm.
Most definitely, that'll make a huge improvement. You mentioned there that you're feeding the stock that were housed, red clover. How has the red clover performed on the farm so far this year?
Yeah, we're getting to love red clover, Catherine. Last year's red clover that we sowed proved its worth again this year with nearly 22 bales per acre grown in 3 cuts so far, and there's still another cut to take, and we'll probably take it around the end of September. We only put out slurry on it for the whole year, and some of the other stuff we have, say the 4th-year red clover has weakened a bit, all right. And this year, we went in with nitrogen for the 3rd cut because we just thought there wasn't enough red clover there to drive on the crop. We're not badly stuck in a sense that all silage, our total silage requirement this year is nearly complete, and we still have 32 acres of 3rd and 4th cut to take. So we're feeling confident we'll have enough this year.
That's great. And what's the plan with that field now that's in its 4th year? What do you plan to do with that?
Oh, I think, Catherine, it'll revert to graze, and it's good land at throwing up grass for silage. It may be left in the silage rotation for next year, but it mightn't be. We won't target 3 cuts off it. We'd probably target 1 good cut in May, and then graze it for the rest of the year. We also have another 2 paddocks lined up for red clover for sowing next spring. We have it sprayed. The weed control is done on it already. So it's in preparation for next spring. We'll put in red clover there and try and keep red clover in the system. Nearly, I'd say 80% of our silage this year now is off red clover. And it's such a benefit. No nitrogen going out at all. It keeps our fertilizer bill down, number one, and the quality is very good. So.
And have you tested this year's silage yet?
Haven't got it tested other than we opened the bale there yesterday morning, and it completely gone this morning. So I think the quality, hopefully we will get it tested. I actually have the sample kit here to get it done. But no, I'd say it's bang on the money now. Hopefully if it comes out like last year's silage, I'm sure it'll be perfect. We do use an additive on it. We put EcoSil on it, and I think it's standing to it. I think it helps it as well.
That's great, Aidan. And you're hosting the National DairyBeef Walk and Live Forum on September the 5th at 6 p.m. What can listeners expect to see on the day?
Oh, well, they're all very welcome, first of all. And I suppose we will be discussing calf and cattle performance, I suppose, mainly with paddock and grassland management, and I suppose the profitability of the cattle system we're doing, and maybe selecting cattle for finishing we'll have our cattle will be the cattle we have selected for finishing already. They'll be on display there along with the spring cattle, the spring calves and the autumn calves. So hopefully it'll encourage people to ask questions and learn target weights and that sort of thing.
That's great, Aidan. We look forward to attending the farm walk on September the 5th at 6 p.m. and I'll include further information in the podcast text. Thanks very much, Aidan.
Thanks, Catherine.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Aidan for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.